What is going on, guys? This is episode number 5 of the Going for Two podcast with Jansen and Hunter. I'm your host, Hunter Waldrop, and this is my co-host, Jansen. Jance, how we doing today, buddy?
We're doing great, man. I'm so excited for college football to get started. Finally, week 1 is here this weekend. Week 0 was a uh, good little tease for what we have coming up, and I'm excited. What about you,
Oh,
buddy?
yeah, that was great. Um, yeah, I mean, I could not be more excited. I know we had a few games this past weekend. We had an SEC game with Vandy playing Hawaii. We had Nebraska play Northwestern. We'll talk more about those two games a little bit later. But, I mean, it was a nice little warm-up, but this weekend is when the real show starts, and I could not be more excited.
Yeah. All right, man.
Yeah, let's just go on right into it. We're going to talk about some week 0 action, talk about some of the games that happened, recap that real quick, and then we'll go into our week 1 preview and talk about. We'll have a little segment where we focus on some new coaching staffs or whatnot. But all right, let's get into it, buddy.
Well, if you haven't yet, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Going for Two podcast with Jansen and Hunter. And if you haven't yet, make sure that you are following our Twitter at going_for2. That's where on game day, we like to tweet out some tweets about games that we're watching and things like that. And like I said, make sure that you drop a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give us a comment, either good or bad. We'll take anything at this point. Anything can help us. So
Yeah, I greatly appreciate any comment, concern that you have, anything to make the show better. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Always appreciate a good like for the video and hit that subscribe button. But yes, sir. Let's get into it, man. All right. Well, the first game we're going to recap, which was obviously the main talking point of this whole past weekend, would be Nebraska losing to Northwestern. And it's just abysmal what this program is in. I mean, they're making both of us look very, very dumb after you had them going 9-3 or 8-4, and I had them going 8-4, finishing in the top 3 of the West. And now it's looking like Scott Frost might not even make it to November.
yeah.
The talent is there. They have so much talent on that team, man. I didn't even realize that their running back, Anthony Grant, was the JUCO player, like the top JUCO player in the nation last year, top running back, whatever it was. And he was running the rock good. They had the transfer from LSU, and then Casey Thompson. I know that fourth quarter was terrible, but that first half, he was playing lights out. And I'm
Yeah,
like, man, he can be
looked like a
really
world
good.
beater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was making some magic happen. But hey, I'm not going to try and take anything away from Northwestern. They capitalized on Nebraska's mistakes. I feel like another key factor was Nebraska was just not making open field tackles. They had a lot of missed tackles, and I think Nebraska was more, or Northwestern, I should say, was more fundamentally sound, which really helped them out. But another thing is that Nebraska defense is terrible, man. They are terrible. You let up over 500 yards and 31 points to Northwestern. I'm sorry. That is not good.
No.
And the thing was, is like Northwestern, they were throwing it. Ryan Holinski, former South Carolina quarterback, came in there, played great. And then the fourth quarter, after they've been throwing it all game, there's nothing more demoralizing than defense, two-way defense, than running Nebraska, or I should say Northwestern, ran the same play over and over, just a run up the middle, little halfback zone, and either a gap, and there was nothing that Nebraska could do to stop it. And there's nothing more demoralizing than that.
It looked like
Scott
how I play.
Frost,
It looked like how I played Madden, just quick slants every single
oh
time,
yeah,
just play after play after play. But
yeah, no, Scott Frost 5-21 at trailing it after half, and has not beat a ranked team yet at Nebraska.
They better check to make
Now,
sure that he didn't get left in Ireland.
yeah, I would have probably left them in Ireland after that. I think they had all the momentum. That third quarter, they came out, scored 14 unanswered points. I think the game changer was obviously the onside kick. When they were up by 11. I don't think there was any reason for that to happen.
Yeah.
And then it happened, and they didn't score another point the rest of the game. That took all of their momentum away because Northwestern came out and scored a quick 7, and then momentum was back in their favor.
Yep.
You hate to see it, but credit to Northwestern. Their defense stepped up when it mattered most. Their offense, I actually thought, played really well-rounded. Their secondary, I thought, played really good, especially in the fourth quarter, picking off Casey Thompson twice in the fourth quarter. I will say this. I know a lot of people are saying, Well, Nebraska's done. Nebraska's done. You know what? I think that might be one of the worst games, or if not the worst game they play all year, because the talent is there. And, like, I don't know. I just got a weird feeling that they will be able to turn around. I still think Scott Frost will have a winning record.
I mean,
Might go 7-5. Maybe still can go 8-4. I think he still will have a job because I don't know. I just have this weird feeling because everybody's going against him, and I'm just going to be the one outlier. It's like
it's
I
because you're a
think they'll get it
believer.
turned around. Yeah, I think they have the talent on the team to do it. They
Yeah.
they just got to do it. There's just no other way to put
They
it.
just got to capitalize on the opportunities that they have.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, let's jump on into.
Yeah,
week
so we'll
0.
go over the rest of the week 0 games, the notable ones at least. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this because there's not a lot of firepower in these teams listed. But Illinois, nice season opening win against Wyoming. They looked pretty good. Brett Bielema, his squad looking good. I would honestly say look out for them to beat Indiana this week. I think they're 3-point dogs going into Bloomington, Indiana this week. So I'd look out for them to take back-to-back wins. Florida State, I know they played Duquesne, but they did look like a more rounded and more fundamentally sound team than they have the past 2 years under Mike Norvell. So, I mean, I'm really excited to see how they turn out against a real good team in LSU this upcoming Sunday in New Orleans. But I think, hey, 5 more wins and they make a bowl game. So there's always that.
Yeah.
Florida Atlantic, the Owls, I think they were probably the best group of 5 team as far as performance-wise goes this past weekend. Offense looked great. Defense looked great, especially for a week 0 game. We're not missing a lot of tackles, put up 43 points, only allowed 13. They had their first drive on defense not so good. They allowed a touchdown, but after that, they were lights out. Offense, defense, special teams looked good. North Carolina, they ended up going with Drake May to play quarterback. He looked really good, had over 300 yards passing, I think a little bit over 400 total yards in the game. So, I mean, their offense looked pretty good, but they were playing a Florida A&M team who's not only FCS, but also had 27 ineligible players. So there's always that.
Yeah.
But they gave up 24 points to Florida A&M. So
which is awful.
That's not very good if you ask me. So when they start playing more high-powered offenses, like if Sam Howell, but Sam Hartman for Wake Forest comes back, that defense is going to struggle really bad.
Yeah.
And like against NC State and Devin Leary, but that can always get changed. Maybe they had their 3rd and 4th strings in, and Florida A&M scored in the last few minutes. But the team I want to talk about the most on this slide, the Vanderbilt Commodores. Round of applause to Vandy because, 63 points. The first time Vandy has scored 63 points since 1969, Jansen. My parents weren't even born in 1969, okay? So kudos to the Commodores. Going into Hawaii, Mike Wright looked pretty good. I think this makes that Vanderbilt over Missouri prediction of yours look a little bit better. They definitely look a lot better than they did last year. And I'm not saying that Vanderbilt's going to go in there and even make a bowl game.
Yeah.
But this is really good for their team and their program, because they're always the ones getting 63.
Yeah, they're always the one getting 63 piece.
Yeah,
like,
and I have nothing to say about the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. If you get beat that bad by Vandy, there's just no comment from me.
Especially on the island.
I know, man.
That's what I'm saying.
So, the first half was kind of competitive because I did end up watching this game. It was kind of competitive, and then the second half, it was like every time I looked up at the TV, Vanderbilt scored 1 or 2 touchdowns, and it was just a blowout. So,
yeah, man, look, Vanderbilt's best team in the SEC.
Hey, record-wise, Vanderbilt is first place and would be qualified for the Actually, they'd be SEC champions right now if the season ended today. So, good job, Vandy. We love to see a team like you get a win and represent the SEC well.
The SEC, yes. That's true.
Absolutely. All right.
Into week 1.
So,
new season, new team.
Yeah. New season, new team. I know I've been doing a lot of talking. You want to do a little bit on this one?
Yeah, I will. So, USC. So, on the left, we have teams that have first-year coaches this season, and USC has Lincoln Riley, obviously. Oklahoma has Brent Venables. Miami has Mario Cristobal. Forgot what's the guy's name?
Florida's got Billy Napier.
Billy Napier, and then LSU has
LSU's
Brian Kelly.
Yep.
So these are just new coaches, first year at their school, and then who they play this week. USC plays Rice this week. They're 32.5 favorites. Oklahoma is a 31-point favorite against UTEP. Miami is a 45.5 favorite against
Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah. And then Florida is 3-point underdogs to Utah, which I don't know why that line is so low, because I genuinely do think Utah beats them by 1 or 2 touchdowns.
To comment back on that, I think the reason why is because Florida wears an SEC sticker on the back of their helmet, and Utah wears a Pac-12 sticker on the back of their helmet.
Yeah.
Plus, Utah, I don't think they've ever – I think Florida's also getting some points in their favor due to home field advantage. I don't think Utah's ever played an environment like the Swamp, and I think, traveling all the way to Florida might be a little bit of a test for them. I think they do prevail at the end of the day.
But they played in the Rose Bowl. I think that's a pretty good environment to –
yeah, but
it's not just all Florida fans, because
exactly. Yeah, and then we got to round it out. We got LSU. They are 3-point favorites against Florida State. I think the team I'm most excited to watch, obviously, y'all know I'm very high on Miami, but this, as far as like matchup goes, I think other than Florida playing Utah, because SEC, Pac-12, and then Florida's not even ranked, and they're only 3-point dogs, I would say is LSU and Florida State.
Especially after what Florida State just did to Duquesne and how they looked against Duquesne. I mean, like you said, it was Duquesne, but they were clicking on all cylinders.
Yeah, they were. And I think it gives them an advantage that they've already played in a real game and like scenarios that happen in a game.
Yeah.
I think that's going to give them an advantage. But also earlier this week, I think it was on Monday, Brian Kelly at LSU was asked about the quarterback situation between Jaden Daniels and, well, what was Miles Brennan, but he left. But then they had a freshman step in. He's like, yes, I do have my mind made up, but we will not announce. You will find out opening drive against Florida State. It gives us an advantage. So he's kind of playing chess right there, which I think's not the stupidest idea in the world.
I don't think it is either, yeah.
But, I mean, I've always known LSU to be a powerhouse. Nick Saban, Les Miles, Coach O, and now you have Brian Kelly. I hope that he can turn it around, because I think college football is always better when LSU is at the top.
I think so too.
But last year, them and Florida State had a very, very similar year. Only one. Florida State went 5-7. LSU went 6-6. So I'm really excited to watch this game, because I want to see how Brian Kelly does against the team. I know he played Florida State last year, but that was with a Notre Dame roster that was probably built to beat teams like Florida State. So I want to see how this LSU team does. Obviously, for USC, I want to see Caleb Williams and Jordan Addison. I want to see how good that offensive line is. Now, I know Rice is terrible, and you should beat them by at least 40 points. But once again, these, some of these games that aren't very high-powered matchups, they are still very good to watch when you have a new team and new coaching staff for Oklahoma and Miami and USC. So I'm very excited to watch, all these teams and how they're going to develop throughout the year. But I definitely say the last two, between Florida and Utah, and LSU and Florida State, would be the two I'm definitely going to be keeping my eyes on this week.
You think Miami covers 46?
I don't.
You don't think they cover 46?
That's just too many points.
It's way too many points, man.
Yeah. North Carolina was 49.5-point favorites against Florida A&M. And we saw
how that went. Yeah.
But I don't think it'll be that close. I do think Miami will steamroll Bethune-Cookman, but I'm never going to bet a 45.5-point game.
No.
But I got USC. I got Oklahoma. I think USC covers. I think Oklahoma covers. I don't think Miami does. I'm going to take Utah over Florida in week 1, and I'm going to take LSU to cover against Florida State.
That's what I'm going to do too. So I'm going to take USC to beat Rice. They should cover 32.5. If they don't, something is wrong with them. I'm going to take Oklahoma to cover 31 against UTEP.
Yeah.
I got Miami to win, but I don't think they cover 45.5. And then I got the Utes
Yeah.
-3. I think they cover that 3, and then I think LSU covers the 3 as well.
I'm not I think Utah will cover the 3, but I'm not gonna go on the record and say they're gonna cover 3 because this
Yeah.
could be a 1-2 point game, so I'm just gonna say Utah wins.
Okay.
But, yeah. So, but I'm very excited to watch all the I think this is I know there's been a lot of change, but I mean, I like change sometimes, but I'd
Me too.
still like
Change is
tradition
good.
as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Change is always good. Well, let's jump into week 1.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Alright.
You can kick us off with, Thursday night action. The first 2 games we got on here is Thursday night action, West Virginia and Pitt and Penn State, Purdue. I'll let you go ahead and get into it, man.
Well, this is probably my favorite it is my favorite matchup of the weekend. It's West Virginia at Pitt. You got Kendon Slovis as the quarterback at Pitt, and he was the quarterback that stepped in when JT Daniels got hurt at USC. JT Daniels is now at West Virginia. So you got that matchup between those two quarterbacks that Thursday. And then the offensive coordinator for West Virginia is the same offensive coordinator that was at was
Was
at
that
USC
Yeah, Graham
when
Harrell.
JT was there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that Pitt's favorited by 7.5 points. I would definitely take West Virginia plus 7.5, and I might sprinkle a little bit on their money line because I genuinely do think that they get the job done over Pitt.
Yeah. Just to follow up on that, I mean, great 2 USC reject quarterbacks battling it out in Pittsburgh. I think, there's no home field advantage when you're playing in an NFL stadium like that. I don't think college football's taken as serious up in Pittsburgh as it is once you get below that, the Midwest and then the Southeast, obviously. I think both quarterbacks are trying to prove something because everybody's doubting Keaton Slovis. I feel like a lot more people are trusting in JT Daniels, so that might fire Pitt up, but I don't see them winning by more than a touchdown and extra point. So if I had to make a pick, I would definitely take West Virginia plus 7.5, lay the 7.5 down. And like you said, I do think if I'm picking a winner for this game, I'm taking the Mountaineers. I don't know. I know Neil Brown's probably their head coach is on the hot seat this year. He has not had a lot of good production out of the team. And I think this is definitely a rebuilding year for Pittsburgh. So I will take not only will I take West Virginia and the 7.5 points, but I will also I'm picking West Virginia to win this game outright.
Yeah, I am too. I think JT Daniels gets it done. Man, I hope he does well.
I really hope he does well as well.
I just hope he can stay healthy, man.
Yeah,
Dude's
that's been his biggest issue ever since his sophomore year at USC is injuries. But I think he's determined to stay healthy. I think he's gonna do everything in his power to play every game he can because he has the potential. He's got the arm strength. He's very, very smart. And best of luck to him. Whenever he did step on the field for Georgia, I was always a big fan. But I mean, I'm a big fan of anybody that's going to come out there for the most part. I obviously have my, pros and cons for different players on the team. Yeah. So.
Yeah. But all right, let's get into Penn State Purdue. Penn State is 3.5 point favorites against Purdue this week. I think this game could go either way. I mean, we've seen Purdue upset teams before, and I genuinely do think that week 1, Penn State falls to Purdue. I mean, it's just
you're picking Purdue?
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Purdue to win that game.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out on a limb and pick Purdue.
I'm gonna pick Purdue as well, and my reasoning behind it is this: it's a Friday night game. It's at Purdue. Penn State. Now, everybody's sleeping on Penn State this offseason. I do think they're going to regroup and probably finish second or third in the Big Ten East behind Michigan and Ohio State. And I think they have a good all-around roster. But Purdue, they've been coming up. Jeff Brom's been doing good. You've seen that high-power offense last year in the Big Ten running a little bit of trickery. They beat Michigan State when they were in the top 5, beat Iowa when they were in the top 5. They're going to go out there and they're going to beat teams they have no business beating.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Mississippi State of the SEC, if you ask me. Aiden O'Connell, if he's on his game, it's going to be hard for that Penn State defense to stop him. Now, I know we talked about in the Purdue and the Big Ten preview that, losing David Belt receiver is going to hurt him, but this game could go either way. I'm not going to bet this game at all.
Neither am I would not touch this game.
Yeah, no, not at all. But if I had to choose a winner, I'm going to go with Purdue. I'm going to take the Boilermakers at home on a Friday night. Now, if this game was on a Saturday at noon, I'd probably take Penn State.
Penn State, yeah.
Or if it was at Penn State, I'm obviously taking Penn State. But, these kind of games that come a little bit early. Actually, no, this is on a Thursday night, pardon me, not a Friday. But still, even worse. Like, these are just the types of games that they're going to always go in the home team's favor, if you ask me. So,
yeah. I'll let you start with Georgia, Oregon.
All right. Well, I will be at this game at 3:30 on Saturday. I'll be at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, home of the Atlanta Falcons, to watch Georgia beat Oregon by at least 18 points. I got Georgia covering this game. Now, I do think Georgia's going to come out slow. They have, historically been a second-half team, and I think it's going to take a second for that offense to click. I think it's also going to take a little bit of time for the defense to get adjusted. At halftime, I could see this being like a 17-10, 17-14, maybe even a tie game. And then about halfway through the third quarter and the fourth quarter, I think it's going to be clicking. I think the offense is going to have it down. I'm not worried about the protection. I think the offensive line's the best it's ever been. I think Georgia's going to run the ball with Kenny McIntosh and Kendall Milton down Oregon's throat, and they're going to make them like it. When they get tired of liking it, they're going to make them like it even more. It's going to be bad. And then when they get tired of liking it, they're going to throw it to Brock Bowers. And there's nothing Bo Nix can do to stop it.
No.
I mean, so like I said, though, I would not be surprised if this game's tied or very close at halftime, but I am going to pick Georgia to just run away with it in the second half. And another thing is, yes, they're filling a lot of holes on that defense. But there's a lot of talent out there. You just don't know their names yet. And after Saturday, you're going to know.
You're going to know their names.
You're going to know their names. Yeah. So I am going to take Georgia to win and cover 17.5 points against Oregon this weekend.
All right. Well, I'm going to take Georgia to win the game, but I think 17.5 points is kind of a lot, in my opinion.
I don't disagree with you. I'm not going to argue against anybody. This is definitely me having bias in myself.
Being a Georgia fan. So I would not touch 17.5 for Georgia because I don't know. I think week one Georgia I think they come out kind of slow. I mean, they lost a lot of players on defense, so they got to start figuring out what to do on defense with all these new players. And I think the offense is going to start slow too. But I mean, I think Georgia does win outright. And if it was minus 10 or even minus 11 or 12, then I think I'd take it. But 17.5 is a lot of points. And I just don't see Georgia covering, but I do think they win outright.
I think the final score of this game is 38-17, 42-17. So,
yeah.
I mean, I hope that covers 18 points. I think
I'm going to write that down because if you're right.
All right, I'll go with 42-17.
All right. Keeping record of it.
All right. I put this game on here because kind of an overlooked game. I love App State and I love Chase Bryce, the former. He went to high school at Grayson, which is right down the road from where I used to live at. It's in Georgia. Now he went to Clemson, and now he's at App State. He's like a 6th or 7th year. He feels like he's been in college forever. But excuse me. They are only 1.5 point dogs against UNC this weekend. A UNC team that gave up 24 to FAMU. Drake May, he looks good, but that defense is giving me question marks. App State been very, very good in the Sun Belt. I think the Sun Belt's a very slept-on conference as far as Group of 5 goes, and they just keep adding firepower to that conference. I'm taking the App State Mountaineers in Boone, North Carolina, to beat the UNC Tar Heels this weekend.
I am too. And another reason why I think that is too, because I didn't know who I thought could win this, and I was like, "Oh, like North Carolina's gonna beat Appalachian State, like what?" And then I saw line movement. The line started out at like what? -4,
Yeah, it was
-5, and now it's moved
-4.
down to -1.5.
Yeah.
So the public's obviously on App State, and yeah, I mean they gave up 24 points to FAMU last week. So how many
Yeah,
points are
that
they going to
that
give up to App
defense is
State
giving
this
me
week?
defense definitely giving me question marks, and I think App State's really good. I think they have talent on that team.
Yeah,
I think, like, I mean, I've already talked about it, Sun Belt slept on conference. I don't know. I really think App State's gonna come in there and they're gonna beat North Carolina.
I
So,
think so too. I got them winning outright.
yeah, me as well.
Yeah.
I'll let you talk about this one, my friend.
All right. Well, I'm actually going to be attending this game this weekend. Arkansas versus Cincinnati. Cincinnati lost a lot of key players to the draft. They lost their starting quarterback, Desmond Ritter. They lost Sauce Gardner, their number one defensive back. And Arkansas really didn't lose anybody to the draft. Last year was kind of like a rebuilding year for him, I would
They
say.
lost they lost Traylon Burks, and that's about it.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know they've used the transfer portal to their advantage, and I know they've gotten a lot of players through the transfer portal. So I like Arkansas -6.5 this week in Fayetteville, and I will be attending the game, and I will be seeing KJ Jefferson put on a highlight reel of a game against
Yeah.
Cincinnati.
I'm also gonna take the Hogs, and I'm gonna take them to win by at least a touchdown this weekend. I think Cincinnati's good. I love Luke Fickell. I love his coaching staff. I love his philosophy. I think they deserved at least a chance to play in the playoff last year just to show that, I think if they would have played against, Michigan, it would have been a little bit closer. But pairing up against Alabama, they honestly didn't get destroyed as bad as I thought they would. But I like them, but they lost 9 starters to the draft. That's a lot of production. Sauce Gardner, second DB taken. People argue that he was the best DB in the draft last year. He did not allow a single touchdown scored on him in 4 years at college. Um,
Did you see what he did in the NFL? Oh, sorry, we don't have to talk about that. But
Desmond Ritter,
sorry.
second quarterback off the board to the Falcons in the second round this past draft. He was there for a long time. He obviously was the leader of that offense. I think with the production that Arkansas is bringing back and the motivation of seeing a glimpse of what they could do last year, another year of KJ Jefferson, adding, Jaden Hazelwood at receiver, bumper pulls, holding down the middle linebackers and the defense as a whole, just with the returning production at Arkansas versus the production leaving at Cincinnati, and Cincinnati having to travel on the road to Arkansas, I think the Razorbacks win this game by at least 10, 14 points. Definitely a 2-possession game. So I'm going to take the Hogs to win outright in this one.
I am too. And I'm going to take them to cover as well.
Yes, I'm taking them to cover as well.
All right, man. Since you're so high on the UTSA Roadrunners,
Okay, whoa. Okay. Everybody slept on the Roadrunners last year, and I might have been the only person in America to know that UTSA was 10-0 at one point during the season, or 11-0, and then they lost one of their last 2 games. And then they went on to win the Conference USA Championship. First time ever in program history. They actually had 2 players get drafted this year. Their running back was pretty good. I forgot his name. But they were also covering machines last year.
Yes, they were.
They went I think they were 10-0 or 9-0, and then they played UAB, and that was the first game they didn't cover all season. It was one of their last 3 games of the year, or last 2 games of the year. So, but they beat UAB. They just didn't cover. But they covered the spread very well. They were ranked for a little bit. They had a nice season, went undefeated all the way up until the last 2 weeks. Ended up winning the conference for the first time, made a bowl game. Very proud of the Roadrunners, as I could say. They helped me out. But U of H is going to be the best Group of 5 team this year, and I don't think UTSA, even though they might have been covering machines last year, I don't think they're going to beat Houston.
I don't think so.
Now, the only thing I would have to say is that This game is being played in the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, so that is going to help because that place does get a little loud. Might not seat the most people, but people do show up to support the Roadrunners. Especially after the season they had last year, they're going to have like a nice little ring ceremony, and they're dropping a banner down before they play Houston, so that's going to get them riled up. It'll give the team some more motivation. But Houston's talent, I think, is just better. I don't know if UTSA will repeat the same thing they did last year. I'm not saying they're going to be bad. But I think 4 is a respectable line considering they're playing at home and after the season they had last year. But if I'm not going to bet this game, but if I did have a choice, I would actually put me on record. If I had to bet this game, I'm not going to. I'd take the Roadrunners +4 because it's at the Alamo Dome. But I would pick Houston to win outright.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can see that. I mean, every time they played a couple big opponents last year in the Alamo Dome, and when they did, I mean, it was so loud the other team just couldn't operate.
Yeah, it happens, man.
It's like white out, but in the Alamo Dome.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
yeah.
Just with 60,000 less people.
Yeah.
So you're gonna take the Cougs?
I'm gonna take the Cougs. I'm gonna take the Cougs +4 because I do think that they are the best Group of 5 team this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that I'm going on record to say this. I do think that they finish in the top 20.
Okay, yeah.
People. Yeah.
Oh, like at the end of the year?
At the end of the year, I think they finish.
Yeah, I mean, if they only lose one game and they, win most of them, yeah, they can finish in the top 20. Yeah. I mean, they could go undefeated. They probably would finish in the top 10. I'm not going to say that, they're going to finish in the top 4 or whatever, but, I would not put out of the realm of possibilities for Houston to go undefeated, win a New Year's Six game, and then, if they come back and do it next year, they could be looking they would be because I think they are joining the Big 12 next year.
They are, yeah. Them in Cincinnati and SMU.
And BYU.
And
UCF. I don't know if SMU is.
No, SMU is, yeah.
Okay, well, I know UCF is and BYU is in Houston, so. Well, good deal.
Yeah.
All right. I'll let you get into this one real quick because I know,
so
we might see eye to eye on this whole situation.
So everybody knows Ohio State's my favorite to win the national championship this year, so I am riding them all season long. And I do think that Ohio State covers 17.5. I said that Oregon might be able to cover Georgia might not be able to cover their 17.5, but I think Ohio State is able to cover their 17.5 against a new coach of Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame starts off flat, and I think Ohio State gets the win and covers 17.5. And I would not be surprised if they win by more than 20. I'm going out on a limb and saying that.
I think this game, everybody.
Let's be honest here. Like, Notre Dame should not be number 5.
No, they shouldn't. They have no business being number 5.
They have no bit. Yeah.
They should be. I think top 10 is respectable, especially after the season they had last year in their history, the past few seasons, not even just all time.
Yeah.
Because they made the playoff the COVID year, and they've they are definitely still a respectable team. They've had good teams under Brian Kelly. The reason they're ranked number 5, if you ask me, is because they knew they're playing Ohio State week 2, and they wanted it to be a top 5 matchup, or week 1, I should say. Do not be surprised Notre Dame beats Ohio State in Columbus. Do not be surprised. Ohio State starts the season off flat. I'm taking Ohio State to win the game. I'm taking Notre Dame to cover 18 points. I say that very, very skittishly because Ohio State could go in there and be winning 49-0 at halftime. I would not be surprised by that. But I don't think Ohio State's defense is going to be able to turn around week 1 from what they did last year. I think throughout the season they're going to continue to get better. So I do see Notre Dame putting up some points. I hope that Ohio State's offense is as good as we made it out to be all year or all season, because if it's not, we're going to look really dumb.
Yeah, we're going to look really dumb.
I think CJ Stroud's going to be, obviously, he's my favorite to win the Heisman. I think he's your favorite to win the Heisman as well. I hope TreVeyon Henderson, I hope he looks good. I don't know. Some's telling me that Notre Dame's going to keep this game closer than what everybody thinks. So that's why I'm going to take them to cover 18 points. But
I mean, I think it could happen because Marcus Freeman's got to make a statement.
Yeah, I know.
He's here
He's
for a
very
reason.
motivated. He is very motivated. I think he's getting that team very ready and
I
very
think he is
motivated
too.
to go. I mean, he can make them run through a brick wall right now. And I think come game time, they'll be okay. But I don't know, man. I think I'm also very scared to say that I have Notre Dame covering 18 points because Ohio State, they're Ohio State. They could go out there and Jim Knowles could have that defense championship ready week 1, and Ryan Day could have the offense championship ready week 1, and they
Yeah.
could be winning 49-0 at halftime. But at the end of the day, I got Ohio State winning the game in Columbus, but I do have Notre Dame covering 18 points against Ohio State.
I mean, I can
And
see that.
and I'm going to be honest, like nobody and their brother thought Oregon had any chance of beating Ohio State at Ohio State last year.
No.
They walked in there and they did it. I know it was at noon, and this game's at 7:00. I don't know. I just feel like Ohio State's been told all offseason that they're going to be – it's them and Alabama and everybody else.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame's been told that they're just dog crap all year
And that they should
offseason.
not be number 5. So, yeah,
Yeah.
they might.
So they might have that motivation factor. And it's week 1. So, like, just
I could
because
definitely
just
see
because
Ohio State walking in on their high horse thinking, "Oh, this is our season." And then Notre Dame comes in and shuts them up.
I
It
mean,
says, "We're ranked number 5 for a reason. We're proving it to you."
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
week 1. So, like, this is both for both teams' first real game situations. You know, playing against somebody else in your home stadium atmosphere or whatnot. We saw what the more talented team did against a non-talented team in Nebraska versus Northwestern. Just because the team has all the talent, if they can't make the fundamental plays and the team with a little bit less talent and a little bit more grit to them can end up pulling it out. But, yeah, I definitely can still – I don't know. This game is either going to be a blowout or it's going to be close.
It's going to be close, yeah. I
Yeah,
agree.
but I am going to take Ohio State to win. So, all right. Last game on the slate. We got Clemson versus Georgia Tech on a Monday night, Labor Day night, in Atlanta, but not at Bobby Dodd Stadium, home of the Jackets. It is also Mercedes-Benz Stadium, home of the Falcons. This line was at 18.5 points 2 days ago. It has already jumped up to 22 points.
I'm still taking 22. It could be
If
30 and I'm
Clemson
still
doesn't
taking
win this game by 42 points, there's an issue. And I know last year they barely beat Georgia Tech
Georgia
at
Tech,
home.
yeah.
They barely beat them. I don't care. Georgia Tech's terrible. Bottom of the barrel. Clemson, this is your opportunity to prove. Yeah, last year it was a down year. But this year we're coming out firing, and you know what you do to bad teams? You beat them, and you beat them until their face turns red. Like, I'm sorry. This game should not be close
You
at
beat
all.
them down, and then when they're down, you beat them some more.
That's right.
Yeah,
You keep your foot on the throttle.
exactly. Keep your foot on
If
their
Clemson's not winning this game 31-7, 31-0 at halftime, there's an issue. This Georgia Tech offense should not score on Clemson's defense.
No, absolutely
This
not.
Georgia Tech team that got outscored 100-0 in the last 2 weeks of the season last year. 100-0. 55-0 to Notre Dame, 45-0 to Georgia.
Georgia. Yeah. Man. If
So,
Clemson doesn't cover,
there's gonna be
I
an
think if
issue.
Georgia Tech puts up more points, not more points, puts up more points than like 10, what I said about Clemson's defense, yeah, y'all can just throw it out the window.
Unless it's in the fourth quarter during garbage
Yeah.
time. But
Unless
if they
they're
put up
up
10 legit
crazy and then they're
points,
playing like their third strings.
yeah, no, but if they put up 10 legit points in like the first half and DJ's playing like crap, expect Cade Klubnik to come in the second half.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to waste any time because another quarterback, rumor that I've been hearing this week, Monday, Dabo Swinney, he's kind of leaning towards the fact that, don't be surprised if Cade Klubnik comes into play. Don't be surprised. So you never know. But
I mean, I'd love for that to happen because DJ is so overrated. Like, everybody used to just – I remember last year everybody was like, oh, man, he's going to win the Heisman, blah, 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 blah. And then he comes in and week 1 against Georgia, he doesn't even put up a touchdown. Like,
yeah. So you never know. with those types of
Yeah, you never know.
ordeals. But like I said, week 1, man, crazy stuff happens. So, excuse me.
I mean,
So,
yeah, crazy stuff does happen. I mean, we saw Syracuse beat Clemson.
yeah, a few years
So,
ago. Hey,
don't be
Oregon
shocked.
beat Ohio State last year.
Yep.
So, well,
Hopefully they can't do that. Hopefully Oregon doesn't do that again.
oh yeah, I know. No, that would be bad.
That would be bad.
No, I'm very excited. We finally got a full slate of college football. And we got college football over the course of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. 5 days in a row. Thursday night, you got West Virginia, Pitt, Penn State, Purdue. Friday, the biggest game I think on the slate is Michigan State versus Western Michigan. So not a lot going on, but there are games.
Yeah.
And then Saturday, you got the Saturday slate right here. And then Sunday, you got LSU, Florida State, in New Orleans. And then Monday night, you got Clemson, Georgia Tech, in Atlanta. So it's going to be fun, man.
It is. I'm excited, buddy.
I'm ready to be back in the groove of college football. I've missed it.
I missed it too.
Yeah.
It's been too long.
It has, but I'm very excited to see what this year has to offer. It's going to be a good one, like always. And this is why you love the sport. So,
Yep.
Well, if I had one last thing to leave with you. You have one bet, one team to cover the spread this week. It doesn't have to be on this list. Mine's not on this list. Who are you taking?
My favorite to cover the spread. I know you don't. I know you're not touching it, but I'm going to take U of H -4, man. I think U of H gets it done and covers the 4. Yeah. Houston. I'm taking the points. TTP.
Yeah. Gotcha.
TTP.
Mine's not on the screen, but if anybody that listened and watched our ACC predictions, you know how low I am on Syracuse, both of us for that matter.
Yeah.
And you know how we have Louisville playing, more of middle of the road to above average football this year, especially with Malik Cunningham, who dropped close to 40 touchdowns, 39, 19 passing, 20 rushing last year, over 5,000 total yards. I'm hammering the Louisville Cardinals -3.5 against the Syracuse Orange come Saturday. I don't think that game's going to be close.
I don't think it is.
I think Louisville can easily win by 2 possessions, much less a field goal. So
yeah.
If I had one play that to all the sports bettors out there, that's the one I would tell. I would say take Louisville -3.5 against Syracuse. So
I agree. That's definitely. I think that might be the lock of the day.
But there you go.
Yeah. All right,
gotta be careful with that O word now.
Don't want to jinx it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, that'll do it for us today. Once again, thank you all for listening and taking time out of y'all's day to give us a listen. Yeah. Very small content creators, but hey, we just want to grow. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, all that jazz. Tell us.
Follow us on Twitter.
Yes. @going_for2. We put some funny tweets out there about Scott Frost not too long ago on Saturday. Somebody check to make sure he's not in Ireland. Subscribe. Leave a comment. Tell us, how you feel about who we got covering the spread, who we got winning games, and if you disagree with us, tell us why. And explain yourself. And if there's anything, that any advice you want to give to us to help the, show and make it better, please let us know down below. Exactly. We greatly appreciate every single one of our listeners. Thank you for just taking your time out of your day to give us a listen. So anything else you need to add?
No, man, just I'm blessed with all these viewers that we got. I mean, I know it's a small content creators, but man, the fact that people take time out of their day to listen to stuff that you and I are talking about I'm extremely grateful for it. So thank you guys.
And I like I told you from the beginning, I didn't care if it was one person, if I had one person listening, but last I checked, we got close to 30 subscribers now.
We just hit 30 subscribers yesterday.
That's great. And I mean, this will be hopefully a weekly thing, barring anybody going down to town or something happening, but it should be, a review from the previous week. And, we'll add a few segments about, who we think's top of the Heisman race right now and where we think teams should be ranked like that. It won't always just be, week 0 or the previous week review, and then
Yeah,
looking forward to the next week. We'll
we'll
definitely
change it
give
up
our
a little bit.
opinions. Yeah, but
All right, guys.
yeah, it was awesome as always, Jansen. Hope
Yes,
you have a
sir.
great rest of your day.
You
Thank you
too, buddy.
everybody to listen, and God bless.
Thank y'all.